Good afternoon to each and everyone, especially to our dear instructor, Teacher Dato. Now we're going to discuss po about the learners and difficult circumstances. When we say learners and difficult circumstances, refers to individual facing significant challenges that hinder their access to education. So there are five. First, we have living in remote places. Second is victims of war. Third is products of broken family. The third and the fourth one is street children. The fifth one is victims of abuse. My second topic is living in remote places. When we say living in remote places, this living in remote places refers to residing in areas geographically isolated from major urban centers. When mas remote places, ito na po yung malalayo sa town, malayo na po. Like nasa bukid na talaga sila. Malayo na talaga yung wala na yung mga transportation, malayo na sa kanila yung mga ganon, yung mga access ng medical. So there are 5 challenges if you're living in a remote places. The first one is a lack of access to quality health. Lack of access in quality health because if you're living in remote places, there's a tendency na yung mga medical nyo is malalayo or onte lang pero malayo or meron pero isa lang or dalawa lang. Lack of employment opportunities kasi dun sa kanila is more on agricultural like pinuputol nila yung kahoy para may pamumuhay sila na income, pangkain nila, di ba? Alam natin, di ba, na bawal magputol ng mga kahoy, pero kailangan kasi yun na lang yung access nila para makapanghanap buhay sila. And the third one is lack of a water, sanitation, or other infrastructure. Sa living in remote places, malayo sila sa tubig kasi yung mga nila is deep well, meron sila deep well pero malayo nga lang, hindi kagaya sa atin sa cities is like lang natin sa water district, babayaran lang natin or may may water pump, tapos diretso na lang, open mo na lang, like sa kanila is bubuhatin pa nila hanggang papunta dun sa bahay nila para lang may pangkain at may pangtubig sila na magagamit pang araw-araw. Kasi kagaya sa atin is like naligo tayo mga 2 times a day, diba sila mga isang araw lang ganyan kasi nga wala silang tubig, meron pero malayo sa bahay nila o magkuha ay makapagod din kaya maglakad-lakad. The third one ay the fourth one lack of internet access. Siyempre we're living in remote places, diba? So doon is poor na talaga mga net doon. Malayo tayo kasi malayo na tayo tapos yung internet natin mahina or wala talagang signal. Hindi kagaya sa mga cities is may wifi or bibili ka lang ng load or papunta ka lang sa PisoNet, meron na. Kagaya sa kanila isahanap pa talaga sila kung saan yung meron na internet. Papunta po sila sa rento, ganyan, para lang may makuha sila. And then, the fifth one is lack of transportation. Lack of transportation kasi nasa living in remote places na sila. Tapos malayo yun sa mga transportation kasi nandun sila sa mga remote places na yun. So yung mga sasakyan is malayo sa sa bahay nila. No? Siyempre, maglalakad pa rin sila ilang minuto bago makasakay ng bus or jeep, diba? Yun. So, how we can help the people who living in remote places? First, we need to support their business. Kasi Kaya yun na lang yung parang panghanap buhay nila. Ganyan, kasi di ba nakakamputa naman tayo dito sa living remote places kasi may binibenta sila ganyan. Mas mura pa. Yes, actually, mas mura pa siya. Mas ma-afford lang natin, even like malayo pa sila sa, kasi, dahil mura yung doon, kasi, onta lang yung ma-afford ng tao. That's why, donating of charities din, voluntary, voluntary, donation for them, para may pang lang sila, may pang araw-araw yun sila na kahit isa or dalawang bigas lang, laking tulong na yun sa kanya. Like sa GMA, yung sa GMA News. Di ba nakikita tayo is malayo talaga sila sa, like, sa places, is living in remote places. Yung GMA News natin is binibigyan nila yung mga nasa malayo na, mga water, mga, food, or mga parts sa katawan nila, ganyan. And then, the third one is voluntary for your medication, for their medication, and also teaching for the education. Kasi nga, di ba, malayo na sila sa center or sa lang. Kailangan natin mag-volunteer kung may bukal na puso kayo para sa kanya, isupport talaga kayo para matulungan yung mga tao doon na gustong mag-aaral. Campaign for policy changes. Siyempre, we need to improve the healthcare, the education for them. It's for you guys if you want to give them remote places. First, you need to search the place, kasi it's really the place yun, kasi para alam natin ano ba yung meron sa place na yun, safe ba yun para sa prepare for isolation. Siyempre, be prepare for limit social interaction sufficient. Of course, you have a knowledge and skills about gardening, about your emergency, kung paano, di ba? Kasi baka may mag-happen din sa places na yun na malayo kasi sa bayan. At least, di ba, may alam niyo paano yung gagagas. But not the least is embrace the lifestyle. We need to appreciate the unique beauty. Kapag titira kayo sa living ay sa remote places is it is a big decision, and you need also to be extra careful about your decision.
Victims of war. Learners who are victims of war face immense challenges that can profoundly impact their education, psychological well-being, and safety. So, meaning, it talks about sa victims of war and learners. So, especially ito, for example, is yung bata, nakikita niya yung parents niya na nag-aaway. So, yung bata dito, siya yung mas may bigas impact, especially sa school niya. Kasi, pag nakikita niya yung parents niya na nag-aaway, tapos yung bata, nakikita niya yun sa parents na nag-aaway sila. So, yung bata doon is siya yung may biggest impact, especially sa kanyang education. This can affect the children, anxiety, depression, and parang dyan na siya, parang nagiging rebelde yung bata. So, in victims of war, there are challenges in victims of war. This includes the trauma and psychological distress. So, trauma and psychological distress, war can leave lasting emotional scars, making it difficult for learners to focus on their studies. They may experience anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. So, dito na, di ba, like I said kanina, mas malaking impact ito sa students na nakikita niya sa parents niya na nag-aaway. So, this can affect their studies. Like, for example, yun na nag-experience sila ng anxiety, depression, and other mental health issues. So, parang naglalip ito sa bata ng scars. Parang yung bata yung mas naapektuhan dito. And the other one is we have also child labor and exploitation. Children caught in war zone may be forced into labor, child soldiering, or other forms of exploitation, preventing them from attending school. So, ito na, yung bata is nagsa-soldiering na siya, parang hindi na siya nag-a-attend sa school niya, always siyang absent, or yun ba, ang akala ng parents niya is pumupunta siya school pero hindi siya pumapasok sa klase niya. So dyan na yung bata nagsastart parang nagre-rebelde sa school. And then for the solutions of that, syempre pag ganyan may solution, diba? So we have solution is trauma-informed education, creating safe and supportive learning environments where learners can address their emotional needs and receive counseling is essential. So yung mga bata na experience na ganyan, so dapat may nag-guide sa kanila, especially the teachers. The teachers dapat open. Pag nakikita natin yung bata na parang may problema siya, we should ask them kung may problema ba siya, or para mabigyan natin sila ng advice, ganyan. And also, we have teacher training and support, equip teachers with the skills and knowledge necessary to work with students who have experienced trauma and displacement. So, means, yung students na parang may trauma na siya sa mga war, ganyan. Street children or children from impoverished. Street children from impoverished backgrounds face a multitude of challenges that significantly impact their access to education and success. So, for example, of street children, yung mga nakikita natin sa town, diba? Most of the mga bata, nandyan lang sila sa mga gilid-gilid. Hindi sila pumupunta sa school kasi wala silang budget for school, siguro ganyan. And instead na magpunta sila sa school, ginagamit na lang nila kanilang for daily needs, ganyan. So, ito yung mga challenges na for street children. Poverty and lack of resources. The most fundamental challenge is poverty itself. Families struggling to meet basic needs often prioritize survival over education. So, ito na yung sinabi ko kanina, diba? Yung families struggling to meet basic needs often prioritize survival over education. So, yung kinikita nila for daily, siguro may trabaho man sila, pero yung kinikita nila sa sweldo nila is ginagamit na lang nila for kanilang daily needs, sa mga foods, ganyan. So, instead na gamitin nila sa kanilang for education, ginagamit na lang nila sa kanilang pang araw-araw na pagkain. And also, we have disrupted education and learning. Street children often have irregular schooling or may have dropped out entirely due to various factors like poverty or the need to work. So, sadly, diba, most of us hindi nakakapunta sa school kasi mas pinaprioritize na nila yung pagtatrabaho because of sa hirap ng buhay. So, instead na magpunta sila sa school, nagtatrabaho na lang sila. So, maswerte tayo kasi nakakapunta tayo sa school. May nag-support sa atin. So, we're lucky. And for potential solutions, so, sa mga ganung bagay, pwede naman sila maghingi ng tulong sa UNICEF. This organization, diba, works to ensure that all children have access to quality education, including those are marginalized or living in poverty. So, pwede sila, yung mga street children, pwede pa rin sila mag-aral kung gusto nila. Maghingi sila ng tulong sa UNICEF kasi diba yung UNICEF parang children for all na pwede mag-aral, or diba magkuha sila ng scholarships. So, ito na, financial assistance and support. So, dito na, scholarship. Providing financial aid, scholarships, and school supplies can reduce the financial barriers to education for all children from impoverished families. So, pwede daw tayo maghingi ng scholarship sa mga hindi masyadong hindi masyadong hindi masyadong afford yung gastos sa pag-aaral. So, pwede tayo kumuha ng scholarships.
Good day, everyone, especially to Ma'am Hujay Padato. But before we proceed to my video presentation, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Rita B. Ramos from Natividad HVAC 1, and my topic is all about products of broken families. The term products of a broken family is often used to describe individuals who have grown up in families that have experienced separation, divorce, or other forms of disruption. While this term can be hurtful and generalized experience, it's important to understand the potential of impacts and challenges this individual may face. Sometimes people say products of a broken family to talk about people who grow up in families that went through things like divorce or separation. It's not a very nice way to describe them because it can be hurtful and make it seem like everyone who has experienced family changes is the same. Emotional impact. Individuals may experience a range of emotions including sadness, anger, fear, confusion, and a sense of insecurity. They may struggle with trust, self-esteem, and forming healthy relationships. When families go through changes like divorce or separation, kids can feel a lot of different things. They might feel sad, angry, scared, or confused. They might also feel insecure, like what's going on. They don't know what's going to happen next. Sometimes these big changes can make it hard for kids to trust people, feel good about themselves, and make a close friend. Psychological effect. Children of broken families are at a higher risk of developing mental health issues like anxiety and depression. They may have difficulty regulating emotions and managing impulses. Kids who go through family changes might be more likely to feel anxious or sad, which are signs of mental health issues. It can be harder for them to control their feelings and behave in a way that's good for them. It's like their emotions are a roller coaster and they need help figuring out how to ride it safely. Social effects. They may struggle to form healthy relationships with peers and adults, experience difficulty trusting people, and face challenges with social skills like empathy and communication. Sometimes, after a family change, kids might find it hard to make friends and get along with others. They might not trust people as easily. It eh, it can be too it can be tough for them to understand how other people feel. That's called empathy. It can also be harder to talk to people and share their thoughts and feelings in a way that makes sense. It's like they're missing some of the social tools that help us connect with each other. Resilience and strength. Despite the challenges, many individuals develop resilience, independence, and a strong work ethic. They may also become more empathetic and compassionate their own experience. Many people learn how to be strong and bounce back from difficult situations. They become more independent and learn to work hard to achieve their goals. Sometimes, because they experience hard things themselves, they become better at understanding and caring about other people. It's like their own experience make them more compassionate and understanding of what others might be going through. Advice on how to cope with the challenge of a broken family. The first is forgiveness. Forgiving oneself and others can be a crucial step in it. So, it's okay to forgive yourself and the people involved for what happened. It's like letting go of the hurt and anger so you can move forward. And the second is empathy and kindness. Practicing empathy and kindness towards oneself and family members can help to rebuild relationship. So empathy and kindness, trying to understand how everyone is feeling and being kind to each other can help families rebuild their relationship. And the third is counseling. Family counseling can provide a safe space to process emotions, address issues, and develop coping mechanisms. So, talking to a therapist can be a safe place to talk about your feelings, learn how to cope with tough times, and work things out with your family. The last one is setting boundaries. Establishing healthier boundaries can protect mental health and prevent further harm. Setting boundaries, it's important to set limits on what you're comfortable with and say no when you need to. This helps you to protect yourself and your mental health. So it's important to remember that every individual's experience is unique. While the term products of a broken family can be helpful for understanding potential challenges, it's crucial to avoid generalization and recognize the diversity of experience within families. Support and understanding are key for individuals navigating the complexities, their past, and building a positive future.
Unpleasant day to each and everyone, especially to you, ma'am. My name is Razia Anjal from BTPTED HBAC 1E. The topic that I'm going to discuss today is about victim of abuse. Victim of abuse, it is the individuals who have experienced harmful or oppressive treatments, often resulting in physical, emotional, psychological, or social harm. Abuse can take many forms, and its effects vary depending on the type of severity and duration. Here are some types of abuse. The physical abuse includes hitting, slapping, kicking, or using physical force to harm someone. Um, Alam ko po na meron naman, aware naman tayo kung ano ang physical abuse. At minsan, nararanasan po natin ito pag sumusobra na, like, yung sobra na po yung pag-aabuso nila ng pisikal, wag po tayong matatakot na magsumbong or sabihin po sa ating mga pamilya, ganon. Or kung ang pamilya po natin mismo naman ang gumagawa nito sa atin, mga abuse, hindi lang sa pisikal, is wag po tayong matakot na magsabi sa mga like mga pulis, ganun po. Dahil yung physical abuse is epekto nito sa atin. Ang epekto nito sa atin is injuries, chronic pain, fear, and long-term health issues. Then, dito naman po tayo sa emotional or psychological abuse. Includes verbal attacks, humiliation, manipulation, or isolating someone from others. Ito naman po yung pag-aabuso through emotional. Then, or manipulation, or isolating someone from others. Then, pupunta naman tayo sa sexual abuse. It involves unwanted or forced sexual acts, harassment, or explosion. Sa sexual abuse naman po, marami na po tayong napanood sa mga social media, sa mga YouTube, especially po kung sino man yung nanonood ng Magpakailanman, MMK, nandun po ang sexual abuse. Kaya po, sino man ang nakakaranas nito sa atin, maging aware po tayo kung ano ang dapat po nating gawin. Huwag po tayong matakot na humingi ng tulong, especially sa sa pamilya natin, or else nga, sabi ko nga, kasi sa panahon ngayon, mas madami na po tayong naririnig na mismong pamilya natin ang nag-aabuso sa atin. Kaya, kailangan po, kung maranasan man natin ito, wag matakot na pumunta sa pinagkakatiwalaan yung yun na nga po ang importante, pumunta talaga po sa police or sa mga barangay kapag mismong pamilya mo ang gumagawa nito sa HEP. By the way, ito ang epekto ng sexual abuse sa atin. Pagka-trauma, shame, physical injuries, or sexual transmitted infections. Then, pupunta naman po tayo sa financial abuse. Financial abuse involves controlling someone's access to money or resources. It may affect dependence on the abuser, poverty, and loss of financial stability. Example po, may pamilya kayo na, example, nanay niya po is namatay na, or meron pong pension yung nanay niya. Then, marami silang magkakapatid. Then, siya lang mismo yung kumukuha sa pension ng mama niya sa pansarili niyang para sa sarili lamang niya, hindi niya po ito sineshare sa mga kapatid niya. Yun po ang example ng financial abuse. Then 5 is neglect. Failure to provide basic needs like for shelter, medical care, or emotional support. It affects poor health, developmental delays in children, or feeling of abandonment. Example po ng neglect, meron kang inampon na bata. Then, syempre, inampon mo yon, responsibility mo na pakainin siya, damitan siya, pag-aralin siya, at patirahan sa bahay mo. Pero ang ginawa mo lang siyang katulong, minsan di pinapakain, di pinapag-aral. Ganun po ang example ng neglect. Kaya, dapat aware po tayo lahat kung ano ang tungkol sa abuse.